Yep, there you go. 30. And good afternoon, everybody. Hello. This is the spiritual stream for Wicca. The ironic thing is that the practicing Wiccan that I know is not in the backstage right now, although I expect her to show up at some point. I have one former Wicca and then two laymen, so this should be an interesting stream.
But you make up for it by having me on here, so I think everything's good.
Yes, and welcome to my guests, Rambling Canuck and Matt Mardigan. And
good afternoon.
Thank you, Taylor, for being here. It's not quite October yet, but I suppose you could call it a spooky season nonetheless. Pflugerville, thank you for being here. Let's start with Matt Mardigan. What do you know about the religion Wicca?
Well, CCDV, I know approximately the first 3 paragraphs of the Wikipedia page on Wicca.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, when I invited you, I was like, do you know much about Wicca? And you were like, yeah, I could hold my own.
No, what I said was, I know enough to contribute to the conversation. For instance, it started in the 1950s by a guy named Gardner. Contributed. Done. Check the box.
Fair. All right. Rambling Canuck, without going into too much detail, will you give us some of your background?
All right. Well, about a little while ago, a few years ago, many years ago. Yeah, I will go with many years ago. I was rolling with a crowd that that got into it for a while, and it's very interesting. Do you want me to get into? I guess I could do that. So basically, Wicca is perceived differently by many different people. There's the official, as Mad Mardigan says, there's the Wikipedia version. And then there are, depending on who you talk to, will depend on your answer. But for the most part, it's a very peaceful way of life for the most part. If you go on the mainstream Wicca.
Oh, okay. So tell me about the five points in the pentagram.
Oh,
there's
God.
earth, wind,
Fire,
water, and spirit. Correct?
Yes.
So why don't you just go ahead and expound on those properties just a little bit? I mean, you got the 4 corners, and then you got the spirit that channels the power, right?
Correct. And not only that, but again, you'll have to forgive me because, it's been a while. But a lot of it has to do with, so each person has their own element. So depending on what your element is will depend on what you use. For instance, mine was
just
water.
1 second, Rambling Canuck. Nancy, Can you hear us this time? And we still cannot hear you. Holy cow. Technical difficulties, I tell you. Ugh. Sorry, go ahead, Rambling Canuck. So your spirit was water.
Well,
your element was water.
Was water. Yes. So a practicing Wiccan will have mostly will have their element. Some have multiple, just depending. And then you will have your your specific, I guess, preferred side, and then just like in normal religion, right? You have your good, your bad. There's the bad is not talked about as much, for obvious reasons, and then you would have your spirit guides. So you'd have your, like for myself, it was a wolf and an eagle for the most part. So they're your protectorate. And then depending on how far you go into it will depend on what else you involve into it. And it also depends on, as I say, what you actively practice.
Okay.
Can I ask a question now?
Sure. Or
Okay.
sorry, Mr. CVD, it's your show.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
All right, cool. Do you get to pick your own element?
No.
Who picks it for you?
Typically, it's an elder. Or to put it into perspective, it's an elder, so it'll be somebody who. It depends. It's usually somebody like an elder or a. If you're looking at it through, I guess the closest I can equate to it would be like the Aboriginal religion. So you have your elders and you have your spirit guides and you have the person, like if you've ever been to a sweat lodge, you'd understand a little bit more. But yeah, so it's the same premise.
Okay. I thought it was a matter of you go through the cleansing ritual, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. You go through the cleansing ritual, you clean your aura, you calm your mind, and then you determine what your element is, and the elder confirms that. Was I mistaken?
No, you're right. You have to understand that. How do I put this? Okay, so what you're discussing is the light side of doing things. I wasn't on the light side of doing things. So a lot of the lighter practices I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Because you consider that stuff like, like weak.
It's just done differently.
Vegasin, when you actually get your microphone working, please let me know. I'll bring you back up on the panel because I do want your perspective on this. Thank you, Kathia Starr, for joining us. Here she is, Kathia Starr.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I'm on Eastern time and I forgot.
Okay, no worries.
Sorry,
but you are here now.
Yes.
So we've gone through and we've discussed experiences with the religion Wicca. So what is your experience with the religion of Wicca?
Okay, well, I started out as a solitary, probably about 14, 15. And I started out with, oh gosh, it's called solitary Wicca or solitary witchcraft. I want to say it's like Cunningham or something.
All right, hold on just one second, Kathia. Nancy, Can you talk in your microphone now? Okay, I still don't hear anything. Hopefully you can get your microphone working. Go ahead, Kathia, with your story.
Scott Cunningham, who's he's pretty famous author in the craft. And that's where I started. And I also started with my mother's spice cabinet.
Well, that is where a lot of the herbs come from.
Yeah, that is true.
Did you say spice cabinet?
Oh, absolutely. Well,
I didn't know oregano played such a big role in this.
Actually, it does, believe it or not.
Oregano,
that's called
sage.
kitchen witchcraft.
Especially sage.
Sweetgrass.
Sage is huge.
Yeah, I played Dragon Age. I mean, I get it.
Well,
You can the whole thing about herbal remedies, herbal teas, all of that is a part of the natural healing of Wicca. But Wicca is more environment based. It's more earthbound. Well, earth energy, earth worship. Um, Druid, but not Drew. What words am I looking for? I'm looking for words. Earth-based magics. Yes, thank you, Spirit, for that. That's my spirit team speaking to me. Earth-based magic. So honoring Mother Gaia is Wicca, even though it is also pagan. It's more it's more Wiccan than it is pagan, and it's when I explain this later, you're gonna find it very interesting. I mean, sociologically, I found it fascinating myself when I found out. And
Now, clarify for me the difference between Gaia and the goddess Moon.
Gaia is the earth, and the moon is the moon. Earth is earth, moon is moon.
That was easy.
Yep, that was pretty
No,
easy.
I thought that the father spirit was the sun and the mother spirit was the moon.
Well, it really depends upon what kind of Wicca you're following. It also depends upon what pantheon of paganism that you follow as well.
Yeah,
Right,
Like-
because
remember how
isn't
I
there
said-
there's
Sorry.
duo theistic pagans, and then pantheon theistic Wiccans, and there's
Well,
several
you're
different
well.
denominations.
It's okay. So let me break this down for you, fellas, and this is going to be very easy. Paganism, Wicca, okay, they're all interconnected, and it's because this type of spiritual path is more individualized and more intimate than, say, a organized religion like Christianity or Islam. Okay, because we define the parameters of our religion. So our religion, even though shares characteristics and traits with others, it's never ever going to be the same. And that's because Source, God, the Force, whatever you want to call it, the main creator, the source of all things, has a language. And that source communicates to us individually using a language that we can understand. So I will understand a language that Rambling would not, and vice versa. And that's what paganism and Wicca is all about. It's finding your own individualized path. And then, of course, there might be others that would share similar beliefs or traits or characteristics, and may do similar things as you, and they group themselves together. But inevitably, everyone is going to have their own individual path and their own individual relationship with Source.
Okay, so we talked about the pentagram a little bit, the 4 elements plus the spirit. So what is your element?
What is my element? I am the sun. I am the moon. I am the sky. I am the rain. I am the human. I am the god. That is an irrelevant question.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm a child of God, I am.
Well, sorry. I mean, I'm a layman. I'm a Christian. I never followed. Oh, there's Nancy. How are you today?
Hey, I'm here.
Good. Excellent. We can finally hear you. My goodness, that took a while.
Well, it was okay. I had to cast out a few friggin' things, but it's okay.
Fair enough.
Right?
All right. So tell us your story, Nancy.
Well, mine's kind of weird, of course. I have always known things like when I was young that I shouldn't know. And when I met my son's father, who is Celtic, and he is he practiced alchemy and the dark arts and paganism and druid. He's the one who taught me, but he didn't teach me. He just showed me with words what I already knew, because he said, well, what would you do if I put all this down in front of you? What would you do? And I just separated the stuff and I made a circle and we sat in the circle, and he was explaining to me the difference between the Celts, paganism, and druids. Druids are more scientifically inlined, as opposed to paganism, which is, again, the earth. But what I found fascinating is I started bringing up Egyptian gods and goddesses, and other gods and goddesses like Mayan, and I started asking questions. Well, do you think that it's all pretty much the same, except for when we got separated, we just all have the same kind of core belief, the same story, but different cast of characters? And he said to me one time, he goes, well, what if Jesus was a spaceman? I mean, this is how in-depth our conversations would get. But for me, it was like when I was practicing, it was not good. It was not good for me because I didn't know the spirit within me. Now, when you go and you do like all the elements and then the spirit within and how it is, and I agree with Kathia that it is a personal thing. What immediately comes to my mind is your personal walk. It's your personal walk with the Creator. Oh,
Dad blessed it to the hoo-ha Sadie.
Yeah, I'm on the phone. Can I get back with you?
All right, let me read T-Berg Sci-Fi Fan real quick. It's challenging for organized religions to understand you can believe in something unique and have a personal path that means one thing to you and different things to others. And yes, that is absolutely difficult for me to understand. I have one path. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and that's what I follow. And so it is difficult for me to understand that. What do you guys think? Rambling Canuck?
In a lot of ways, it's not much different. It just sounds that way. In organized religion, you have different sects of religion. You have the Catholic, and then in Catholic, you have different divisions. In United, you have 16 different divisions. Baptist, same thing. It's no different on the other side of the coin. The only difference is one is heavily publicized, and then the other is, well, there's been a role reversal. At one point, what Kathia and Nancy were talking about was more common than it is now. And Christianity was done in basements and in people's back rooms and done hush, hush, quiet, secret symbols, etc. And now we have flipped. The script is flipped. So now you have a very, by its nature, an underground theism that dates back a lot further than what Wikipedia says. It just depends on what you're what you follow. And then you have the accepted. So we are no longer the accepted. And well, I'm talking kind of third person here.
Okay. Mad Mardigan?
Yeah, no, it's easy for me. Like I get where you're coming from, CC, because again, I mean, I was raised Baptist my whole life. You know, I'm still consider myself a Christian with, I guess I don't even like calling myself that because of all the baggage that comes with it. However,
yeah,
I get it. If this works for you, it works for you. As long as it does not, and I don't know. I'm kind of liberal in this sense and about most things, but as long as it does not interfere with someone else's rights to practice what they want or to have the ability to do what they want, you know, as long as it doesn't interfere with other people, do whatever the hell you want. You want to, you know, whatever. Like, and if you have to sacrifice a kid every once in a while, that's fine. Just make sure it's not in my neighborhood because I don't need, you know, that.
Well, I don't want to see child sacrifice or anything
some of them
like
pretty
that.
dumb.
So, Kathia Star, your personal opinion on
your comment.
How was
Yeah.
being facetious?
What you said. Could you repeat what you said? What was the statement?
The entire thing?
Oh,
Not
no,
Matt Mardigan, just Mr. CCDV.
right.
Oh, sorry.
We were talking about where did that one go? Nope, I went too far up in the chat. Doggone it. Challenging for organized religions. That's the one. It's challenging for organized religions to understand what you can believe in.
No, not that. Not that. You said something about Jesus said something.
I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And
yes, okay.
no
This is what that
is
the statement we are addressing. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No. And I'm sorry, Mr. CCDV, you are going to disagree with me on this one. Jesus did not say that. A Bible said that. That was words written by a man. That isn't true. But also, it is true at the same time. The meaning of it in its context, I believe, in my personal gnosis, is corrupted and incorrect and should be clarified in that God, what, not who, but what is God?
Well, I mean, I think Eckhart said it best when he said, once we, you know, start to speak of God, we cease to speak of God.
No.
No, you don't.
Again, this is a personal gnosis. No. Anybody else want to give a go?
Well, no, I wouldn't, because if it's just personal, we're just trying to guess at what you think it is.
No. What is it? What is it that your beliefs say about it? But no, it's not an argument. It is a discussion. I'm not taking offense, and I don't think anybody else is being offended.
No, just the two of you are talking over each other. So give one person a chance. So we're talking about a personal path. Does that make you your own God?
Not necessarily well, in a way, yeah, but also no. Yeah, see, well, this is how God works. This is how source works. It is and it is not. Everything that you touch is and is not real. Everything that we see, touched, and taste is and is not real. It is there and it is not. This is the force. That is the source. The force is the source. Okay? Now, that being said, who is God? God is unconditional love. If I have unconditional love for all things, I see God in all things. That's it.
Okay.
So I am the way and the truth of life, said Jesus. No. And yes, at the same time. Jesus didn't say he was God. He never said that he was God. He never said, worship me. Nobody. God, Jesus never, ever said those words to any living person when he was alive and after when he was resurrected. He never said, hey, y'all, worship me. That was a deification of the Romans. Does that demean him? No, absolutely not. He is still a powerful person. He's still a powerful ascended master. He is an angel. And yes, he is God in that he is the Son of God, just like me. Am I God? No. Am I God? Yes.
By the way, what CCDV said, well, one, any book that's not written directly by the person or a statement from a person is recorded. Yeah, it was written by someone else. That doesn't mean that we just dismiss it as not being said. That was weird.
Well,
That bothered me.
We're not
But-
doing apologetics for the Bible right now.
I'm not either. I'm just saying that I mean that's a rule that we're only applying to one thing and not everything. My point was that what CCTV said, you know, that Jesus said, I don't think that he meant that as worship me. I mean, being the path to God is not the same as being God, and it's not the same thing as saying worship me.
Well, then why do Christians worship Jesus like God?
Well,
Do we?
we'll go into the Trinity another time. Right now, we're just talking about Wicca.
Okay, well then let's talk about the Trinity, the triple moon goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
Hadn't
There's
heard
your
that
moon
one.
goddess. What? The triple moon goddess. The Trinity appears in multiple religions, Mr. CCTV, and it's a reflection of the cycles of the humanity, and it also gets genderized. You know, the boy, the warrior, and the hold on. Is it the shepherd?
Drunken
No,
philosopher?
the shepherd, the warrior, and the father, I believe. The shepherd, the warrior, and the grandfather, something like that. There is a trinity of men as well. Okay, so it's not just for women. There's also a place there for men too, which is, I find, more beneficial than your standard monotheism, because your monotheism is incredibly patriarchal. And that's why I turned towards more pagan and Wicca, is because there was a place for me as a female, as a feminine.
Okay, let's talk about the feminine then. Nancy, what is your opinion on the feminine as far as Wicca is concerned? Because I know they're practicing Wicca who are male. Nancy, are you still with us? Okay, I'll throw that to Kathia Star then.
I was kind of off put by shock. Can we repeat the question again?
What is your opinion about males practicing Wicca?
Well, why not? They're
Well,
just
I
as
was,
important, and they're just as important in the cycles of nature as we are. They are they give the seed. When you're talking about Wicca, you're talking about reproduction. You're talking about life cycles, the rise and the fall of the year, you know, seasons changing. It's incredibly important for early man because we were agriculturally based. Everything we did was based on whether or not we had a good harvest. If we survived the winter, or actually it wasn't even the winter, the how we survived was it's called the hunger gap. And it's that period in spring towards Lent where it's still too cold to grow anything, and we're starting to run, our food stores are starting to spoil and go bad. That's why we have celebrations like Lent, but there were other celebrations like that. For Wicca and for pagans, it was it's a big long L word I can never stupid remember. Lingahad or Lunga Judah. You know what? Look at the chat. Somebody in the chat, look up the Wiccan name for the festival in February. It's going to be before Groundhogs. Thank you, Thurberg sci-fi fan.
T-Berg.
Yeah, T-Berg. See, I can never remember how to pronounce that name. Luciende. Lunasad. There we go.
Oh, Lunasad. Okay.
Lunasad. Thank you. Yes. But see, there's a 6 week, or there's a several week period called the Hunger Gap in between that celebration and the beginning of spring, where we can begin planting. And that's when our stores of food begin to run low. So we have a big celebration where everybody cooks up all the food that's getting ready to go bad. And all we do is we just have this gluttonous feast. And that's because we are literally preparing ourselves to survive that hunger gap. Now, if we don't have that food to get us through we are going to starve to death. So we have to look to the gods. We have to look for divine intervention to help us through that. And sometimes that came down to nature. How well is the deer population? Where are the boars running? You know, where do we need to go and what do we need to do for the wild hunt? Because the
Okay,
wild, sorry.
is that actually Wicca practice
Yes.
or is that pagan practice?
Both.
I'm confused. I just want clarification.
Both.
And hold on just one second. Nancy, are you able to talk now? Are you with
Golly,
us?
Nan, you're having some trouble with that microphone.
All right, no worries. Cast those demons out and then come back to us. All right. So the question is, Nancy, are you there? Aye. All right, we'll figure it out. No worries.
Okay.
Rambling Canuck, the question was male practitioners of Wicca. Do you think that they are equal to the female practitioners, considering the disparity between male and female practitioners? Rambling Canuck, are you with us?
Gracious.
Man.
Sorry about that. I had to turn on the voice meter because
Don't worry, brother.
hard
I'm
restart.
still here.
I had to do a hard restart. So because my computer decided to give me a big FU. So basically, if you're going at the very core of it, there is no superior or inferior in the way of looking at things. Everything is think circle based. Okay, so if you have all women, then you don't have a circle. If you have all men, you don't have a circle. Think the yin yang. One is dependent on the other in all things, and that's the core of Wicca. Everything around you is a big circle. Okay, so there, when you're looking at it from now, men have different roles as in traditional practices, but at the core of it, the thought process is you can't have one without the other. So, like, you can't have day without night. You can't have joy without pain. You can't have. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So, in the grand scheme of things, it's not looked at which is more prominent, which is more domineering, because if one is more than the other, then your circle is out of phase and therefore irrelevant.
Okay. Nancy,
And
you got a
not true.
thought on the men versus women in the Wicca religion? And Nancy still can't talk. My goodness.
Yeah, she's having a devil of a time.
Ay, caramba. Okay. Well, you know what? Since Rambling Canuck, you brought up the fact, let's talk about the circle a little bit. And I did mention cleansing ritual. And I understand from my research, I understand. I've never participated, but the cleansing ritual has to be done in a closed circle. And then the circle is open after the cleansing ritual is complete, but the circle is never broken. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Traditionally done within what I guess. Wow. If you're lucky enough within the coven, and it's usually you have several elders within that on the outside of the circle, and then you're in the middle, and it's a very to put it into terms that people would understand. To go through that process is gut checks of all gut checks, because the people that are on the outside of the circle will learn things about you that no one else will ever know on levels that you I can't sit here and explain. I'd be here for another hour and a half.
Yeah,
and
difficult.
it also depends. It also depends on the path that you're on. Yeah, but there's also a self-cleansing ritual. Those are done more frequently than the big traditional one. Many people use sage, sweetgrass. There are many
selenite. You can use crystals for that.
Crystals, yes, crystals are big.
Nancy, can you talk now? Still not getting anything from your microphone, Nancy. I'm sorry.
Basically, it's a blessed element. Would you agree, Canuck? I mean, whether it's earth, air, fire, or water, it's always some kind of a blessed element for the purification ritual.
Yes. Yeah. It also depends on, like, there are some that believe that it has to be your element. So you'll get the hardliners that if you're...
How is that determined? Sorry, Mr. CCDV, but having this idea about having an element, is this like maybe like astrology? Like I'm a Taurus, so I would be earth, and I would be anointed with salt. How does? Because that's a new thing. I've never heard of that before.
Okay, as a general rule, when you go through your initial cleansing within a coven, you will go on, for lack of a better term, a spiritual walk.
Oh, okay. I know what that is. Soul journey, spiritual walk. Okay, I got you.
In that walk, you will be exposed to at least 2 animals that will become your guardians.
Right.
You will also be shown your element. Each person has their individual. Some have several. Myself, it's water. So when you go through a purification, if you are earth, if you do a purification ceremony, it is typically out in the open, in nature. If you're water, you typically will be in water. Fire, well, you're not standing in fire, but fire is prevalent, et cetera, et cetera. So it's stronger because that's your element. Each person in their own, once they've gone through that, will know what their element is. It is confirmed by typically your elder in your coven, because they will look into you and they will be able to tell. But until you go through that walk, you're, for all intents and purposes, to use a religious term, a wandering soul without knowing your true self. Without knowing your true self, you cannot use your full potential because you don't have yourself yet.
So the element grounds you?
I would.
The element gives you the element gives you your strength.
Okay.
That's interesting. No, when I did my soul journey, I wasn't given an element. I was only given animal totems. I'm given things by the gods. So the whole thing about, well, maybe it might. You see, I can't connect to that idea, Ramblin'. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because we're all the elements, and we cycle through our lives needing different elements. Like there was a time where I needed I needed to be surrounded by the idea of earth. Okay. And I couldn't get enough. And now, recently it's been, I cannot take enough showers. I cannot take enough baths, spiritual baths. So when I'm looking at this whole idea of element, it is what I need it to be during the cycle of my life, at the current cycle of my life. So I just don't
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a difference between knowing your element and, well, if this is your element, you can't use any of the others. Just like in everything in life, you are stronger in certain senses. Some people are stronger with their right hand. Some people are great at math. Some people suck at math. Some people are stronger in this and stronger in that. It's a cycle. Some people are stronger with earth magic. Some people are stronger with water magic. Some people are stronger with fire magic. And to find out where you need to be, you need to find out what your element is, and everyone has one. It's not a matter of, well, if I'm water, I can't use fire. It's just fire is not going to be my strong suit. It's very, very core, because you have, like I say, once you go through that initial phase, you will have your spirit protectorate, and then you will have your element. Each element is vital, because if you don't know what your source, where the elements come into major practice is for healing. A person who is strong in water will heal better in water.
I wonder if that's one of the base differences between Wicca and paganism, because who was it that talked about that? It may have been Freya Norling, but don't quote me on that. One of the sociological differences between Wicca and paganism is that Wicca, earth-based magics, and that was the reason why I brought up that agriculture thing, was because Wicca, earth-based magics are for peasants, and the gods are more for the upper class, aristocrats, chiefs, clerics, that sort of thing. Now, that's not necessarily a rule of thumb. That's just a general, basic umbrella statement. So don't overanalyze that. Okay. And that was the sociological, the cultural difference between the two, because your aristocrats, your leaders, generally speaking, they didn't do farming, and your soldiers, generally speaking, rode the line between farming and Viking. Okay, and so when you're at your farm, you're praying to Ymir, and you're praying to Suna, and you're praying to Ron for a good harvest, for good fishing, for whatever. But if you've gone a Viking, you're praying to Thor, you're praying to Odin for victory, for strength, for protection. And that's the difference between the two.
All right, so the cleansing ritual, and we touched a little bit on the personal cleansing ritual. How much of a role does salt play in that personal cleansing ritual?
Huge.
All right, so salt and sage are some of the bigger
salt more than anything.
elements,
No.
but-
If you're choosing between salt and anything else, it will always be salt.
I can hear you,
time.
Nancy. I can hear you.
I can't move.
Okay, well, the stage is yours. Say what you got to say. I know you had a lot to talk about today.
Well, not a lot. I just wanted to hit on the one point where Kathy has said about its the source and the own language. You can also interpret that into being your prayer language, or how I look at it. When it says in the Word, okay, the Bible, that some will speak in tongues and others will interpret, but there's two kinds of tongues. There's that, and there's your prayer language. Like, I speak a language that just came upon me one time, filled with the Holy Spirit, whatever spirit you want to call it, because I seriously believe that it's all connected, that it's all the same, and it's nothing alike at the same time. And actually, Kathia, you said it perfectly. It's everything and it's nothing. It's white and black. We're all connected. But anyways, so I wanted to touch on that was actually written in the Word. Okay. And what I believe and what I've come to know through my journey, on both sides, okay, on a very dark side and a very more lighter side, coming out of the pit, so to say. I've seen both worlds. I've seen ugly and I've seen beautiful. And I don't know, it's just a different kind of understanding, because when you parallel everything together, it's everything that it seems to be, but it's nothing at all, because it's within you. So
All right, clarify that real quick. What do you mean by it's everything but nothing because it's in you?
it's Jesus said I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that he's the Son of God, and I believe that he's the Son of Man. Just like I believe you all are the sons of God and the sons of man, and us women are the daughters. If the Creator created us, then henceforth we're from him, but we came through a human being. So I believe in Jesus. I believe that he laid his life down for us. Yes, I absolutely believe that. And I believe that he came to wrap everything up that has been going on from the beginning of time, to teach us what we knew inside, to bring it out of us. That's why he had to depart. So what? So a spirit can come within, because we lost touch with the truth as a whole. Okay. So when I say it's everything and it's nothing, because there's no one way to look at it, because everyone's got their different walk and their different journey. And in my belief, it's all about respecting the friggin' power of the Almighty, because that ain't nothing to reckon with, and if anybody's practiced the dark arts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, and I even shake when I talk about it. So like I said, so it's everything, but it's nothing, and it's your own journey. It's your own walk. Are you connected with fellow humans? Absolutely. Are we all connected? Absolutely. But there's been some form of a gap, a separation, and I believe Jesus came to show us that. And I believe this is what's going on right now, is there's another friggin' shift. I call them shifts. They're shifts.
Okay.
Like from 2,000
Well,
years ago, there was a shift. Yeah.
let's go ahead and talk about the what was I trying to think of now? Oh, we were talking about personal cleansing. So
Okay.
if you take a bath, do you throw salts in there? Is there a specific kind of salt that you have to use, or is it just?
I specifically like to use It depends. It depends on where I've been. If I've been someplace that's, I know that there's crap on me, I will take a cleansing bath with pink Himalayan salt. If it's because I'm hurting, I'll take Epsom salt with lavender. Salt's really important. We are the salt of the earth.
Okay.
Nothing. So salt's super important. Yeah, in the cleansing, and the same with the herbs and stuff. They were here.
So
before.
when you do
Yeah.
a ritual cleansing bath, is it just, you're just taking a bath and you're putting salts and herbs in the water?
There's no like, and I mean, sometimes I'll light a candle, sometimes I'll be playing friggin' Hollywood Undead, sometimes I'll just be sitting there. I mean, I don't have rituals. I don't believe in rituals. I believe in just being led by the spirit, and it is what it is. Like I don't like say a hocus pocus anything, or never have over like my bath or anything like that. I just know salt is a very cleansing element.
Okay. Rambling Canuck, you were going to say something?
Okay, so the thought that you need certain things to do certain things is one that is irrelevant, because it is you can have it set up properly. You can have your salt in the water, you can have your candles on all four directions, you can have your incense burning. However, if your mind is not where it needs to be, then you're taking a bath.
Thank
Simply
you. That
put,
was brilliant.
you're taking a bath. It is
So it's
more of your state of mind than anything else. You can cleanse yourself standing in your kitchen with nothing around you, but it is more for a person who is practicing. It is more finding your center than it is a specific ritual written down. The salts amplify that effect and help with that. However, if the person is not there mentally, then you're taking a bath, or you're standing on the side of a hill, or you're walking through a park.
So is it more like meditation
Yes.
and ritual cleansing at the same time? All right,
Yeah.
Mad Mardigan, what do you think about that?
Sorry to spit. Can you just clarify one?
Well, we're talking about ritual cleansing, and Rambling Canuck says it has a lot to do with your mental space. So a lot of meditation goes into the process of ritual cleansing. What do you think?
I mean, I've never experienced a cleansing bath, spiritual cleansing. I have a question about the element part, the animal trinkets.
All right. If you want to just hang on to that thought for just a moment, I'll come right back to you, but I want to get Kathia Starr's thought on this as well.
Well, as Rambling said, intention is key. But also with that is focus. All of that stuff about sage and salt and stuff, those are tools to help you as a beginning, intermediate, and sometimes even advanced. I mean, advanced people sometimes need to go back to the basics to focus on that intention. And the stronger the intention, the stronger the focus of that intention, it will amplify the manifestation of that magic, of that personal force. Okay, which does come from your source. And as long as your source is fueled by the source, which is unconditional love, you can do anything. You can manifest whatever you want. And that is basically what it's all about.
Okay. Here's a question.
Can I say
I'm
just one
sorry.
little last thing? It's
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
being anointed with holy water, or being anointed with oil. It's exactly on that same line. Okay.
Oh yeah, don't the Catholics cross themselves with holy water before entering
Well,
the sanctuary?
I anoint my house with holy oil all the time. You know, it's not so much of what you're doing as the gratitude that you're giving up, in my opinion, and exactly about the focus. When you're sitting there in front of a pastor, or you're getting baptized, let's say, you know, you're totally focused on that, and you're focused on giving your life to the Lord. You know, if you're getting baptized the right way or whatever, you know, I can't say that because that's incorrect. When you're getting baptized, as for me. So it's the same thing. It's that focus. What are you focused on? And you're focused on your creator, your all, your truth. And that's, if that gives you some, but if you don't believe in it, you're just getting dunked underwater.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, so your mind needs to be in the right place. You need to be focused on the right thing. Let me ask this though: if you're not able to cleanse yourself, say a bathtub or pool is not available, would it be easier for you to focus if you were in a closed circle? Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, Mr. CCTV, I'll answer this this way. Closed circles are generally not used for cleansing, only once. And the reason for that is thus. It was brought up by Sci-Fi Nation. A circle is your way of safely, especially when you're new into Wicca, of going to a different plane and making sure that nothing returns with you when you return. So the circle is more of a protectorate than it is a necessary aspect. The circle is more representation and used more for protection than it is for because if you're truly going into that state of mind, you are at your most vulnerable. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that one.
Okay. All right.
I can make a. I'm sorry,
no, go ahead, Nancy. Yeah.
I'm just afraid I'm going to lose internet. So what basically it is, you know how we Christians, when we stand in our prayer circle, we stand in a prayer circle and we hold hands the majority of the time and pray. We're going to a different plane. It's like that. That's what that circle is. Hedges of protection. Hedges are round. Henceforth, the circle of protection. And maybe that can explain what the circle is.
Okay.
Because you definitely, when you go into prayer, I don't know about you or anybody else, but from what I've seen, what I've observed for myself, when I go into prayer, I'm in a different zone, you know, just like praise and worship. When you really get into the praising and worshiping, I love that, you know, that gratitude. But you get into that zone, and that's when people say, oh, and the Spirit fell upon me, or they, you know, but does that make sense? Do you see the, you see.
Well, I just wanted to know if I know the circle can be used for protection.
But as far as cleansing, no, you don't. I mean, I sit here and talk to you and say, "Ooh, yeah, get off me." You know, how about, you know, I take that thought captive to the obedience of Christ type thing. No, get away. that's a cleansing. That's no, whatever's on me or whatever's in my house, you got to go right now. That's a cleansing. Cleansing doesn't, to me anyway, ways from what I've grown up now into is it just is. I mean, you don't have to do all that mumbo jumbo like the Pharisees. That's a good example right there. Not like yelling like the Pharisees. It's a very humble thing, in my opinion.
Well, folks, we've been on for an hour, and I promised I would keep this down to an hour. So let's go around the circle. And I know we could talk about this all day, right? But
well, yeah, I think we spent too much time talking about Wicca and not enough time talking about the gods, just in my opinion.
Well, no, paganism is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were just specifically talking about Wicca today.
Oh.
So paganism is in 2 weeks.
Oh, well, crap. Okay.
Yeah, voodoo is next week.
Whoa, okay.
Voodoo is another twisted thought of mine.
Hey, it's a spiritual studies stream, all right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I happen to appreciate Baron Samedi.
Nancy.
No, I don't mean twisted in the bad way. I mean, that's something I've also looked into. I mean, I've looked into everything I can get my hands on for just craving knowledge of what's really going on, but that's besides the point.
Let's go ahead and go around the panel one time. Mad Mardigan, what do you got coming up this week?
Well, I'm still talking to the government about giving us back episode 1 of Teferi Nation. We'll see what happens. We may have got a little too close with our guest and his clone. Episode 2, though, we will be recording, and we're going this weekend, and we're going to have on an expert in the chupacabra, and he is a chupacabra hunter in Mexico. So that should be cool.
Wow,
cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he wrote us. We get letters all the time from people. Like the last week, we had the guy on who was abducted and was cloned by the aliens, and then they sent the clone back to him for him to raise. It was a whole big thing, but hoping to be able to put that out.
All right. Casey Star, what do you got coming up?
As of this instant, nothing. But I would like to talk about a channel change, if you don't mind, Mr. CCDB. Currently, the Kathia Star channel has a subscriber base and a following specifically for pop culture, and I want to change that. I want to change that to more spiritual-based stuff, tarot readings, talking about craft, doing things about the gods, maybe possibly live streaming later on. I want to sell my services. I want to do tarot readings. And so basically what's going on is I'm starting fresh on a new channel, Star Arcanum 555. And it'll premiere. Actually, I can't say when specifically it's going to premiere, but it is coming. It is in the making. The channel is up now. There's just nothing on it at the moment. So if you want to find it somewhere out there and subscribe already, that'd be fantastic. But that's where I'm moving, and it's basically because I'm rebuilding my community. I'm rebranding myself, and I have plans to monetize, do T-shirts, and the whole kit and caboodle. And this is where my path has been preparing me for since I was activated at the beginning of the year. Now, I did not know this, and now that I'm in separation and I'm more stable and my life is beginning, it's starting. I'm experiencing a rebirth, a renewal, and so that's where I'm being led, is to do a channel with that following base, and I can't do that if I'm too embroiled in pop culture drama. So that's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, good deal. Rambling Canuck, your next video drops when?
On Rambling Canuck, it won't be till next week. I apologize for that. I got very sick over the weekend, and it effed up a lot of things. I'm hoping to do a live stream tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be karaoke as always on Rambling Canuck. The next video for History with R&R drops Friday morning. It'll be Vimy Ridge Part 3. Then, of course, we'll have karaoke Saturday as usual. I believe I'm going to be here tomorrow with you. And other than that, I'm just trying to get myself back. And then next week, everything should come back business as usual.
All right. Nancy, do you have something coming up this week?
Just more testing the live stream before I interview Captain Chris with Mars Media, like I was telling y'all. And pretty much just networking, just do what I do until I can get some programs figured out. I think I've got something worked out to start doing more visual poetry. So that, can I just say something to Jason and T-Bird real quick? Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure.
I was just reading y'all's chat, and wow, yeah, you said it right here. If Jesus came back, how he kicked the temple tables over. I don't know exactly, Hannah. I can't find it. Go figure. How he would be angry with those big churches, and here it is right here. You know, if Jesus came back, I bet he'd be upset. The money changers in the temples, or the evangelists in their crystal palaces and jet liners. And you're absolutely right. And I totally agree with that. And did you see the connection and how you guys were talking? I just think that that's really cool. And, you know, we have to be for goodness and normalcy, Pluggerville. That's what I believe. And we all do have our dark sides, you know? But anyway, so I'm going to be talking probably way more on my rambling positive affirmations on more of this on my live stream tests, hopefully this week.
All right. Right on. Good deal. Well, tomorrow morning, I guess it'll be afternoon for most people, but tomorrow at 10 Pacific, noon Central Time, which Rambling Canuck keeps telling me is the only time, but
it is the only time.
Hard to believe.
No, I concur, so therefore it's been confirmed. It is the real time.
So noon Central Time, I will be doing Pain Volume 2, and that's for those of us who are in chronic pain. We need to talk about it, and I'm just going to go ahead and go on and do Volume 2 tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll do karaoke with Rambling Canuck tomorrow night. I will do the karaoke after show on Saturday, provided I'm still feeling better by then. God, I hope I am. Because I'm feeling better today, so we'll see how that goes.
And I'm feeling.
And then, of course, my Bible study on Sunday morning. So it's been a great stream, guys. I'm going to throw it open for last thoughts, final thoughts. Anybody?
Invite me to the pagan stream.
Well, yeah.
It's cool if you have somebody else instead of me for that one.
Okay. You can look up Wikipedia and go on Voodoo if you like.
Oh, Voodoo's not bad.
I need to find a Voodoo practitioner. Ugh. Yeah. Fun. All right, guys. Everyone, it's been great. Thank you so much for being here, panelists. Thank you, the chat, for being here. I had a great time. and I learned a bunch of stuff. So that's why I want to keep doing these Wednesday streams. And we will see you all next Wednesday, if not Sunday morning.
CCDV.